So, ladies and gentlemen, we have amongst us our session chair. Please put your hands together for Ms. Sonali Krishna, Senior Editor, Times Network. Let's welcome her with a big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much, ma'am, for joining us here. Thank you so much for your time that you've given us today. Thank you. We have amongst us Ruchira Jaitley, Chief Marketing Officer, Digeo India. Hello, ma'am. Thank you so much for joining us here. Let's welcome her with a big round of applause. Ladies and gentlemen, we have amongst us Sachin Vishishta, Chief Marketing Officer, Paisa Bazaar. Suryadeep Verma, SVP and Chief Marketing Officer, Comviva Technologies. Hello, sir. We have amongst us Satyabrata Das, Chief Alliance Officer, Lakshya Media. Can we give them a big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen? Thank you so much. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you. As the topic, you can see on the chart behind you, marketing in the era of AI and CGI. Hopefully, you're not very hungry and you can stay with us for the next 25 to 30 minutes as we try and make this as riveting as possible. So ever since there's been technology advancement, whether it be the steam engine or it be the big computer, we've always felt, oh my God, this is insane and we're at the edge of complete disruption. AI is the next big revolution, which is basically dangling all kinds of dangers in front of us in terms of human resource, but also promising a very, very high enabled productivity. We're going to be discussing some of that and challenging some of that as we have a seasoned marketers right here on the panel, and hopefully we'll make this very, very engaging and conversational. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. I'll start with you, Ruchira. As somebody who markets beverages, alcohol beverages, and of course, wearing your industry hat as a marketer, how much of this AI dangler that we're all kind of, be getting used to or getting thrust into our face has actually made a difference in terms of your real-time marketing function?
Okay, so that's like a motherhood and apple pie kind of a question, right? So I'll keep it short. One, we're already using AI in ways that everyone here is familiar with media targeting, dynamic boosting on targets, on managing staff retention, all kinds of stuff, right? You're using an AI assistant, but in a far more structured, in a very clear input to output correlation. Sure. But you're using vast amounts of data and generating, therefore, the most optimal solutions. So there's a lot of AI being used. You're talking about Gen AI, which is the next step. And then, of course, the third one's predictive AI.
Absolutely.
Right? So as far as Gen AI is concerned, what does generative AI do? It trawls vast amounts of data and comes back with solutions, bases zero memory needed, infinite memory rather, so because it can access all kinds of data. The second is it comes in terms of speed and efficiency, is much faster than a human being processing it. But the third one is, it's interesting, there's a lack of truth function. It basically takes everything that's available and puts it out.
Sure.
Right or wrong.
Sure.
Yeah, which is why some of the stuff that we've been seeing going on. How much of it, therefore, are we using? I'd say a lot of people, the uptake on large language models in generative AI, which is basically type in a word in English, ChatGPT equivalent, the uptake of that from consumers is much higher than it is for businesses today, because you're still evaluating not just what efficiency it can deliver, but also the risks, which for any brand or any business is very, very paramount. So where are businesses? Businesses are adopting it much more slowly or putting in POEs, proof of concepts, POCs, etc., to make sure that there is a safe sandbox in which you can put your brands. What does it mean for me? Frankly, it's fantastic. As an Alcobev marketer, I do not want to market to everyone.
Sure.
First of all, I want to market to people who want to know more. I think that there is a clear need for AI and Gen AI created solutions in 4 or 5 parts of the funnel. First of all, awareness, relevant. You like drinking gin, I like drinking a single malt. You know, so for me, get awareness around my interest area. Second, therefore, guide me to purchase. My company's mission is celebrating life every day and everywhere. How can I make your celebrations come alive? Whether it's a wedding, whether it's a graduation party meant for, you know, my legal drinking age and above kids and their friends. The third one is post-purchase, where I can actually use that moment of consumption, celebration to say it was great, tell people about it, you know, maybe curate it further. And the final one is consumption, curating it, the right song list. Very different for a wedding, very different for a New Year's Eve party. Every other thing around it, what are the accessories, etc. So it can actually deliver deep personalized solutions to the right consumers without having to go through this whole circumvented piece on who you shouldn't market to. So I can do it in a very safe sandbox.
Are we there though? Are you being able to
No.
deliver personalized?
I think we're getting
customized?
there.
Okay.
We have got a number of such solutions that we have already piloted, are in market. You probably don't know about it because we're waiting till it comes to a certain stage of maturity. Consumers love it. We're seeing huge interest and retention. So it's a matter of scaling up.
So we have a while to go before we reach that.
While in this day and era, Sonali is like 6 months?
6 months,
a
you're
year?
saying? Yeah.
2 years at best to go
Okay.
like completely switch your models on media investment. So it is there. It is there, and it's literally on the cusp of making it happen.
Sure.
In my opinion, of
Sure,
course.
sure,
I'd love to
sure.
hear from the rest.
Sure. Suryadeep?
I actually have a little contra opinion.
Great. I love contra. Great.
Yeah, you know, if you ask personally, there's a tremendous amount of usage that is happening, but more on content kind of use cases. Creating content and both text and graphics, I think that's a super use case that has come up. What Gen I really has done is made it very simple for everybody, right? AI as a tech was out of bounds for marketers, so now everybody in your team is able to just log on to a terminal and pull it out. Having said that, I think a very related part of it is how you keep on building creativity and freshness and innovation through something which is available to everybody, right? So I think that's where the charm of marketing and the whole core of marketer as a skill will come into play. From a leverage standpoint, I think that's where we are doing right now. The possibility that I see in near term, which is say about a year and a half, is more around scaling it up to your probably audience and making it more of personalized campaigns. People are still kind of careful about it. You would be careful in terms of exposing your brand to all your target customer, unless you, I think what Ruchira said, you know, do a sandbox, be 110% sure that whatever is going out through the engine is fairly kind of a foolproof. So I think that's something which is still under works, but as a marketing team, I think that's what we are doing into. Now I represent Comviva, which is a tech company, and one of our focus domain is actually MarTech, interestingly. We develop solutions for marketers, particularly into the communication vertical, which is the telecom. And there's a lot of work actually happening on the tech side, where we are creating platforms that would drive that personalization at scale. Whether we have delivered it, deployed it, not yet right now, but I think there's a lot of work where we are putting together algorithms, tech, all that to make it happen. But I see about at least a year and a half before we kind of send it live. There are pilot stories where, you know, you can generate a campaign, activate it, do all that, but I think marketers are still very, very careful in terms of pressing the button and exposing it out there. But having said that, it's a force multiplier for sure. It's a great, great disruptor. I think in the next couple of years, we are going to really see this transforming the whole marketing function for sure. And this is as powerful as it can get from a capability standpoint. So I think those were my 2 cents.
Sure. I have a couple of rejoinders, but first I'm going to get the other 2 gentlemen to give me their view. So Sachin, why don't you give me your view if you're in line with Ruchira or with Suryadeep?
You know, both of them are right actually in their own way. But this word AI, it got popularized when, you know, OpenAI, they launched ChatGPT. That was a part of their strategy because no one was taking them seriously, and that is not what they wanted to do. They wanted to create AI model for large organizations, and now everyone, they've started noticing them, and suddenly ChatGPT became a race. But it is not the point when AI actually started. If you, I'm sure a lot of you guys would have noticed around 7, 8 years back. I'll just give an example of Google Ad Search, right? Search ads. A lot of people, in fact, most of us are using it as a channel to acquire customers. We had to optimize campaign manually. We had to select placements, take out reports on a daily basis, select keywords, add negative keywords, a lot of these things, and it took a lot of time out of a marketer's day. Google started, automating all these functions one after another, and I think around 3, 4 years back, now search is completely automated. You don't have to do anything. You just give them some sort of keywords, give them certain goal on. If you are a digital, entirely digital company, and the transaction is happening within the digital ecosystem, you tell search that these are my goals. This is my ideal customer. This is the demographic. This is the domain, this is the product what I'm selling, and you run the campaign. And this is what I want. And you don't have to touch that campaign. The machine learns automatically, and it'll yield results in line with your expectations. That's AI, right? Where you are not taking decision, and you are letting the machine take decision basis, instead of you getting into the data and then changing it on a daily basis. So it's been there. Now when it comes to the use cases of AI in, it's in the every domain. I believe that as a marketer, my work is to find the right consumer for my product, give them the right messaging about my brand, using the right channel at the right time. AI is impacting each one of these, these pillars. When it comes to choosing the right consumer, like she said, there are use cases in segmentation, there are use cases in, identifying who is your right consumer, what are his habits, what are her habits, what kind of content she is consuming, etc., etc. When it comes to messaging, right messaging, there is personalization. Instead of looking your audience at an aggregate level, you can now go granular and treat your consumer as an individual. Like she mentioned, someone likes gin, someone likes single malt. Rather than looking at them as an alcohol drinker, I can now go granular and see them as gin drinker. I can go further down and see them as a Hendrix drinker or a Jaisalmer drinker, right? So AI gives you that power. Now, again, when it comes to communication, Mondelez did it a few years back. They personalized a video communication message, right? Use Shah Rukh Khan. Exactly. That it was that. I think it was pre ChatGPT time. Then the channel, how to choose your channel. I'll again go back 5, 6, 7 years back. We built a propensity model, right? Because we were using multiple channels to reach out to our consumers. Not the new consumers, but for cross-sell. People who have already visited our product, who have already consumed our product, we were trying to cross-sell, and we were trying to figure out which channel is the best, what time of the day is the best to communicate, right? We put all of these things in a propensity model, started working. It has evolved in last 5, 6, 7 years, working beautifully well for us. So again, now, earlier it used to be a tedious task. Take out data, analyze that data. Now you can put everything in a model and let the machine learn, and the AI will do the rest. So it's impacting each and every area of your work these days.
Okay. Okay. Satya?
Ladies and gentlemen, big round of applause for Sonali, one of the best hosts in the country, please.
Say that later, yeah.
Yeah, no, I want to tell this because I'll forget. Well, I will have a position very different to all three of them because they're brand custodians and I'm coming from a agency perspective. See, look, as a alliance head, what I do is I go and meet a lot of people who are working on this ecosystem, and they have different kind of perspective. They come to me and they say, I have all these algorithms which can actually take the CMO's job. And it's very scary. And they say, "Nahi chahiye, you don't need a CMO. I will go. You tell me where do you want to go and pitch." And then the whole, we'll go and pitch and we can tell this, we can tell that. And there's another set of people who come and tell, "Acha, this CMO has done wrong investment on digital." We have auditing team which can audit that and tell ki, this is wrong investment in digital.
That's why CMOs have the shortest shelf life. Anyone was wondering before.
So, it's a little scary. I'll tell you what. So, as somebody who has seen the evolution of media from early 90s to till now, I think you have to, as my friend said, that you have to look at it with a bit of caution. You need to take it with a pinch of salt, and you have to use it in 2-3 parameters. One is, you definitely have to have a data scientist as a CMO in your team. You need to have a research guy who understands the whole ecosystem, and it also depends from brands to brands. Like her brand would need it, his brand will need it, and maybe another brand will not need it. It's very important to know. For instance, a Swiggy and a Zomato, or for that matter, a Acco will use it brilliantly because they're completely digital, right? I mean, Acco doesn't do any transaction otherwise. They would do only purely digital. So they would use AI in a much better way than do a product like in Maruti or in Skoda. They would need impact, they would need reach, but still they have a team which reach out to people who will, do that data crunch and give them that, this is. Yeah.
Just wanted to add here, not only the digital companies, but in fact, I'll just give you an example of Asian Paints. They are using, now we can call it AI, but they are using data beautifully well in their demand planning. So they can plan how much paint is needed in a particular pin code, at what time, and of what color. Right, so similar like if I...
more hyperlocal,
yeah,
absolute hyperlocal.
Exactly, and they are an offline company. Similarly, if I talk about Diageo, it would be, great if they can implement a way or processes to collect data at the point of sale level. Currently, if you get into an alcohol or a liquor store, you just pay and take out the bottle which you want.
No. Everybody asks for your mobile number and it is grandly misused.
Hold on. Just hold that thought. I completely agree with Sachin, and I think, but disagree with Satya on one point. Two things, and you wanted this, right?
Yeah, I do.
You wanted this. I disagree on the point that I don't think anyone is saying AI or Gen AI is going to replace the role of creativity.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. It makes it more efficient, it makes it faster, more dynamic, more personalized. But creativity, I mean, you use the example of Shah Rukh Khan, right? Yeah, that was fantastic creativity. If I look at the 5-star, and I'm using a competitor very deliberately, so I'm not like talking about the great work that we're doing at Diageo, which we are, but the 5-star work on using the star rating, creativity, that it used, platforms that were deep data platforms, right, is the point. The other thing I agree with Sachin on is that, you were just making that point. Your ability to leverage that content dramatically better. We always knew advertising is wasted. Where is it wasted? We still don't have the solution to that, right? Yeah. And in this day and age, with greater and greater consumers demanding personalization and customization, I don't want to be talked to as one of many. That's what you're doing. A-Paints, I've got 2 examples. In China, Alibaba, someone's got my sound off. It's okay. Alibaba, used data and AI to help a beer company reduce the number of warehouses it had from 9 to 6 and improved servicing rates, right? That's AI and data. Quaker Oats designed a whole new product in 3 months, unheard of in that category, and sold out month after month using AI and predictive and generative. They actually generated what the pack should look like and what the product should be, right? So yes, jobs will be under threat, but not creativity.
But I believe there would be newer jobs, right? So things which you can easily automate, definitely those jobs will go. So again, I'll go back 7, 8 years. There's a thing called search engine optimization.
Yeah.
I'm sure you all would know. 8, 10 years back, the work of search engine optimization was such that you needed, it was a labor-intensive work.
Yeah.
There were people who were not very highly paid. They used to earn 3, 4 thousand. They were given an Excel sheet with all the websites and some data, and they used to do the data entry work. You know, now that job, it does not exist.
Correct.
So people, and so I had 5 people, such people in my team. I am still in touch with 3 of them. 2 have evolved beautifully well. They learned how the field was changing, and they kept on changing their own skill sets, and they are working very well as SEO guys now also. Rest, they have, they went away. They are doing something else. They are not in the same field. So how you evolve, as a worker or as an individual, it depends on you, because new jobs will be created, old jobs will go. So I don't think it's such a big threat.
I have a rejoinder to the panel. Almost everybody on this panel has talked about in the future AI will be more personalized, will be more customized, will understand your customer better. I want to ask the audience, how much of content is chasing you today, and how many calls are you getting for different products or services? Anybody who's fed up of that? Being chased by content all the time and being called randomly?
I'm fed up. Here.
Yeah? Yeah, me too, right? I'm kind of frustrated actually. So my point is, if you're going to keep chasing me, despite the fact that you have at your disposal so much data, right? And you understand at a granular level my likes and my choices, why is it that I'm constantly being bombarded, whether it be by email or it be by social media or it be by regular telephone or SMS, to a point on categories where I have no interest. I may even say I'm not interested, but that somehow that data entry is not happening, and it's continuing to do the same thing, and my data is being sold. To your point, every time I go, now I refuse my number, but they take your number, and that database, selling of that database is such a roaring business now that people are just randomly calling you. I get more nonsensical calls than actual, work efficient calls. So my question is, where is this great AI and all this data computing going?
Sunil, can I just tell this? See, look, now, 10 years back, when, those old-timer data scientists like Lean D'Souza or...
Marketing person.
Sorry?
You're talking about like telemarketing.
No. I'm saying people like us, when AI was not there, we used to work a lot on research and data, correct?
Through research agencies.
Might be agency, it might be in research firm like ATG, IMRB, or whoever, yeah. So, when we used to work, we had reaches 1+, 2+, 3+, 4+, and it's a blind spot. Today, Blinkit is, when Blinkit comes, I do like this, sorry for the brand, but I do it like this, because it keeps on hammering. It's been a blind spot for me for ages now. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. So, the brand head there should understand where to stop, but they don't stop. And then as we talk now, if our mobile phones are on, they would send me something, today when I go back. So I think somewhere AI also has to be a bit more intelligent to understand, what a consumer, it's like this, it has to be a new girlfriend who understands all your needs and then give you food like that or whatever like that, and then tell that the old girlfriend was not correct, I'm better off. So somewhere I think AI has to evolve a little better.
I think Sonali was looking at Sachin while asking this question. So
my industry,
I'll just take, so I guess this is pure senseless marketing, what you're saying. It's like just bombarding everybody. That's, I guess, is not what we are really talking here. It is database marketing pretty much, just pulling out.
But via AI, right?
So that's the truth.
Because you know that I'm interested.
Hang on, so that's the truth. I think while we speak about these frontier subjects, that was what I was actually alluding to. I still feel that most teams still are hinged on marketing automation tools and pushing campaigns and then getting on to their next campaign and next campaign and next campaign. I think that's still the way most of the world and the teams are operating, right?
Yeah.
Correct. Now, if you look at AI and application, there are companies which are little ahead of the curve, right? And you will see some sophistication in the way they are approaching. So I guess that would be like 10% of teams, 15% of the teams, which actually are getting into that kind of a subject. It also depends upon the kind of business that you are in, right? I'm into B2B business. I discourage my team members to run such campaigns, right? Because for me, so I'm into a B2B business and I'm strongly focused on a couple of domains, which is telecom and BFSI. So I will not encourage my team members. I stop them, right? When I look at their plans, I want to be very sure in terms of what they're doing. Having said that, I guess, I receive so many mails, so many connection requests, and the second thing that I see is a request it turns into a campaign. But that's like a very poor execution. What really is happening these days is that I think we are mixing up data science, AI, all that stuff. This is tremendously creating a lot of capability and intelligence into the system. The point is whether teams are in a position or they have the tools, they are at a maturity to leverage some of this
Correct.
information. I don't think a lot of people are still well trained on some of those aspects in terms of looking at a journey. They themselves have their pressure, their life pressure. So, the point is how many campaigns you pushed, what is the open rate, what is the click rate, and you get on with your life, right? But
Yeah.
this is, so what is really happening is you're seeing so many campaigns because so many guys are operating out there, everybody is trying to get in touch, but nobody is really trying to get into your persona, your habits, nobody is.
Yeah.
80-90% of the guys are not. They are creating all that.
And I might add to that, there are also companies and businesses that are GDPR compliant, that do consent-based marketing, that will not target you basis your number on a list that you shopped for, because that's absolutely not allowed, right?
Few and far between, Ruchira.
True, but I work with one of them. So I know that, in fact, the consent we take is for the use. It's like, okay, do you want to know about an event, or do you want to know about various offers? And if, depending on what you tick off, and it's for a limited period of time, that I can retain those records. So yes, and by the way, the company that transformed the maximum amount and the fastest was actually L'Oreal, which today is held as a benchmark. Yeah. Now think about it, when was the last time someone from L'Oreal called you? No one, right? Because they also work with the same compliance norms that exist in Europe. So I do want to add, it's not like Suryadeep saying, that's just bad, lazy marketing.
So I'll have a different view on this. So, how many calls are you getting, or how many messages, or how many communications are you getting? It depends on the industry, who is targeting you, right? For an FMCG company, or maybe Diageo or HUL or ITC, they have a very high recall because you're using their products on a daily basis. You need those products on a daily basis. So rather than investing in a campaign to reach out to their consumers, they invest that amount in becoming more and more intelligent in demand planning, right? Now there are industries where a consumer is in market for a very short duration. The prime example of these industries are real estate and BFSI. You are not in market, for a long, if you are looking for a house on rent, or you are looking for a house to purchase, there is a very short window. Now, and the number of companies or number of providers are huge. So there would be real estate firms, there would be real estate brokers, and they all know that Sonali is in market, she's looking for a house. There are 20 different people who are chasing Sonali, and they have a very short window. Similarly, for if I talk about BFSI, my industry, you would not be in market for a loan for a very long duration. If you need a personal loan, maybe you will be in market for 15 days, 1 month. If you need a home loan, maybe for 3 months to 6 months, right? That is the duration. Now, another thing is, that is one problem. The other problem we large organization face in this particular sector is impersonation. So there are DSAs who would call you saying that I am calling from HDFC Bank. HDFC Bank would not know that, this DSA is calling you. They will give that file to someone else, maybe Kotak, or they may give it to HDFC. But the brand which is getting, basically targeted is HDFC Bank. So a lot of these things happen. Second thing is, we can't blame AI for that. AI would give you the right propensity model. It will tell you in deciles that this is D1, where you have 95% chances of conversions. This is D2, where you have 90% chances of conversion, so on and so forth.
But
right?
AI is
Now,
not able to tell all these real estate companies that Sonali is not interested in buying a house and doesn't have the money.
Because
right?
99% of those companies would not be using AI. There would be your, next Nukkad ka, real estate broker who has gotten your number from somewhere, who has gotten a tip that Sonali is looking for it. Maybe you are not looking for a house. Maybe you went with someone else, right, who was in market, but they got a tip and now they'll haul you. So that's how these few industries work.
No, I also find social media quite devilish, I would say, because you're discussing something with a friend. Let's say I discussed gin and single malt with Ruchira today, right?
You will start
the
seeing
next thing is I'm going to be bombarded with stuff, right? And I have not consented. I'm having a casual discussion with a friend, but I will be bombarded and they will not leave me alone. So I find instead of actually engaging me as a customer, you're really irritating and annoying me.
Because the models are still evolving, they're not perfect.
That is my point is today's actual real-time execution leaves a lot to be desired from a customer standpoint.
True.
Right? Not
True.
from a marketer's
You're
standpoint.
right.
You are evolving models.
Yeah.
Let me ask you another thing as a customer, because marketers tend to live in their own little world, right? From a customer standpoint, today they say it's all automized, it's all about chatbots. I've tried chatbots. They are limited responses. If I ask anything out of the box that has not been keyed in, it goes back to the same step one. I'm like, okay, but that's not my question, right?
Because
there is no artificial intelligence being used there that, okay, this is beyond my syllabus, so can I then try and put them onto a human interface? Right? That kind of sophistication and nuance is not yet there. So essentially, you're leaving me more frustrated.
I'll tell you why it's happening. So currently, most organizations are using rule-based chatbots, which are, you can say, the first generation chatbots, where you give certain rules and you give responses. That if someone asks this, give this, ask this, give this. If someone asks something out of the box, give them sorry or some generic answers. Now organizations, and I know a few of them, in fact we are also working with Microsoft on the same. Now organizations are working with Microsoft and Google, who have large AI models, and trying to leverage their own data. So if I give you our example, we have call data of last 10 years. Because a large number of agents are calling these people for last 10 years. We have every sort of questions. We are trying to leverage that data, and if we can create a chatbot who can work, if not 100% as my agent, but at least 70-80% of my agent, and then for the rest 30, I'll do a transition like you said. I'll hand it over to a human agent, but we are not there. And I am a digital first organization. I can't say, maybe someone else is using still the open chat and all of these things where you have certain flowcharts, you set that flowcharts, and that's is frustrating, So these things are very complex, all these chatbots and everything. It started, I think, in 1950s, 1960s, when Alan Turing he devised a test called Turing test, where there was a chat between a human, 3 humans and one researcher. There was a bot, and the researcher has to identify which one is the bot, right? No bot could pass that test till 2021. But now, after all these chat GPTs and the amount of data we have in the ecosystem, thanks to all of us using smart devices and IoT devices, the amount of data which is being generated at every moment is tremendous. And AI to be intelligent, more and more data is required. So
but I have to interrupt you there. This data, this quantum of data that people keep talking about. A few years in Cannes, it was all about data. It was trending. Bite-sized data, large data, big data, small data. My point is, nobody is able to comb through this data. There is quantum and quantum of data being received. But how to use that data is, I think, leaves a lot to be desired.
Yeah, true. We all are learning that, right? And using data is a complex thing. Within an organization, I'm sure you would appreciate that. In an organization, same customer would be in different database would belong to different teams, right? And the fungibility of these data sets is not there. Now, when people are realizing that, they are now making amends, they are trying to create a data lake, they're trying to create a right data infrastructure, because till you have the right data infrastructure in place, no AI model would work. No matter how sophisticated model you get or you build in-house, it will not work till the time your data is sorted. Now, I'm not talking about small organization, I'm talking about large banks. The CASA database would be different than, the asset database, liability database would be different. Home loan team would have their own database, and Sonali might be there in all of these databases. All of these teams would be, after Sonali for their own product.
Imagine my plight.
Right. So it is improving, and I believe it's not very long. Maybe in 6 months, 1 year time, we'll see, a decent impact of,
And
of
that's
all these
the
efforts.
point, right? 6 months to 1 year, 2 years, that's the horizon we're talking about, because there's someone called Mo Grabo. I think I've got the pronunciation of his surname right. He used to run AI for Google, right? He spoke about how for almost 6 months, they were looking at robos who could catch a little yellow ball, right? 6 months, nothing. People were joking about it, saying, you're spending millions doing this, right? And this was all about generating intelligence. Friday afternoon, 3 o'clock, he was walking from one office to the other. People are shutting down, because that's what they do, I believe, shut down at 3 or 3:30 on a Friday afternoon. And he noticed one machine. And they thought, oh, you know what? That's just chance. One machine caught the ball. On Monday morning, these are all disconnected machines. All machines were catching every single ball, Monday morning.
Yeah.
Right? So to your point, the Turing example is brilliant. The question is, are we ready for it? Are our capabilities there? Are our people there? Are our policies there in terms of security? And are we going to add the right amount of creativity, right amount of left and right brain, right? And I think that's the question, right? And it is not going to be a race to the top, because you can make horrific mistakes. I wouldn't advocate that. I wouldn't want to be the person who's being chased by all these guys. But I certainly want to know that someone who knows my needs and wants is able to cater to it better and better. Imagine a future where there is no search.
Yeah.
A future where there is no search, because what you're looking for, you ask for it. You don't have to go and type it. And you'll get like literally the whole value chain in front of you with suggestions.
And the time period in which we see visible change is shrinking. So, in last 2 years, whatever change you have seen in the technology world, in the marketing world, in the society, it is more than the last 10 years, and it is more than the last 20, 30 years, right? So the time frame in which change is happening is shrinking. So maybe we'll see more change in coming 6 months than we have seen in last 3 years.
I think we are going through a process of evaluation. Time. Oh.
No, get the blinker on.
Okay, so quickly, I think all of us are going through a time of evolution, Sonali. I mean, I think as we talk, there are a lot of work happening on AI, and people like us are evolving with AI. So I think ultimately we have to create a story for ourselves. For instance, some of the best brands in the world, whether it is Google or it is Facebook or it is Netflix or Apple, they are using it with a lot of discrete. For instance, if you see Netflix, Amazon Prime, they use a lot of out of home. Lot of, in India and other places. They're the most intelligent company. And then they amplify it in social. They are not completely gone to AI. They are using it with discrete global companies. So we need to use it with caution, and we have to see how it's evolving, in this.
I have one question to the audience, yeah. As customers, not as marketeers, How has AI fruitfully impacted your lives? Anybody? If it has, please raise your hand.
I see my great friend sitting here. Brother,
Lloyd.
Lloyd.
Okay, I guess that means it has impacted nobody.
Can I tell you
as a
how it's
customer.
impacted my life positively?
No, no, no.
Zoom has this amazing feature. You don't have to take minutes anymore. It'll actually take minutes of a meeting for you. Highly intrusive, very scary, but it does. You're doing a meeting, you are running the meeting, it will come back with minutes for you. Yep.
And your content discovery on OTT, all OTT platforms is driven by AI. So, you watch one and it'll recommend you.
Yeah, I'm sorry to say it, that's really random because that discovery is, these days because of the plethora of choice, if you want to start a show or a movie, I spend almost an hour surfing to figure out what I want to watch. And, it's not that, their interface, maybe it's working, they're working on it to improve it, but it's not bang on yet. I'm spending a lot of time understanding what I want to watch and actually watching.
So, I think that's the thing. It's never gonna be 100% bang on, but I'm sure at times the machine is gonna surprise you as well, right? And that happens to most of us. I think you threw a good question and I was surprised nobody raised their hand.
They're hungry.
I think what is also happening is that we don't realize how much of AI is influencing our decision making, and we are not even conscious of it, right? Which is social media recommendations, right? I'm sure everybody here would be on Insta and they don't realize what is thrown at them is based on their viewing patterns, right? And at least for me, I get surprised quite a number of times. Almost everybody would be using Google Maps. This whole kind of, I think that's pretty much an amazing use case of, data science and, whatever you call it. And we have been experiencing it. I mean, there are recommendations that come in our way. There is so much of usage that is really happening. And I think it is becoming very integral to the way we live our life.
Okay, last question before I let you go. Each one of you, how much has this usage of AI and implementation and investment in AI made the outcome far more efficient? So you can tangibly say that because I've used this, I have either reduced my marketing expenditure or I have converted that much more people in terms of consumption. Can you tell me tangibly you can make that statement?
So I think what has tremendously at least impacted me is my time investment on content, right? Which has cut down the amount of content that we can generate. And I'm not talking about final AI driven content, but I'm talking about subject ideas. I'm talking about draft stuff, and you can look at like 5 drafts and get your own draft. I'm talking about ideas there. There is a tremendous impact that I have also seen on prospecting side, where, on the demand gen particularly, where you are able to and orchestrate some of that in a limited manner. So I do see impact of that for sure.
Can you make that tangible for me?
I would say that
Or these are more intangible?
no, these are not intangible. If I were to work with a 20-member team, I think I could do that job with about 15-member team. But what is really happening is that you're also finding ways to leverage your talent in more productive areas, right? So, I mean, all of us do a lot of content stuff, and I do see very serious value there in terms of generative AI and all that. I can't actually imagine a life without that as a enabler. So I believe, there are, the expectations is really kind of even getting stretched, and it's gonna pretty much be at a very solid space. But I think it is becoming a way of life for everybody.
So, yeah, I can give you some tangible numbers. As an organization, around 40-45% of our revenue comes from cross-selling on our own customer base. That's a substantial number as an organization. So, not AI, but I would call it the machine learning model which we have built. It's not the same thing, but in the same direction. We have a propensity model which we started working on 6-7 years back. It has helped us improving our guiding metrics for marketing team here at Paisa Bazaar is cost by revenue. How much cost I am incurring to get how much revenue, and it has to be a positive thing. We try not to run loss-making campaigns, right? So it has improved my cost by revenue ratio from earlier 62-63% to now 41-42% for all my paid campaigns. That's a substantial, and it has not happened in a day or in a month's time. It's the work of last 5, 6, 7 years. The other thing is lead scoring model, which is because we have a large contact center team, roughly 3,000-4,000 agents who are calling on inquiries we get. I cannot call to each and every inquiry I get. I have to choose that which inquiry should I give a call, which inquiry should I pass. That lead scoring model, it has improved our conversion rate substantially. Third, and the most important, and a very important model we have, that's called chances of approval, because in our industry more people get rejected for the product they want. So it's not that you want a loan and you'll get it. Unlike any other product, you want a bottle of wine, you'll get it, you can purchase it. But you want a loan, there are very high chances that you may not get it for XYZ reasons, right? Because each banks, NBFCs and lender has their own set of rules, own set of underwriting rules, which are not exposed to us. That's something which is classified. Now, my job as a platform is to match the right lender with the consumer. Now, if I do not know those rules, how will I match the right consumer? Earlier, when we started out, our rejection rates were very high. But throughout these last 7, 8, 9 years, more and more data we had, more and more data we collected, and the model, we call it chances of approval. We built that model over that data. And now we have improved the chances of approval by almost 35-40%. So earlier it used to be around 47-48%, and out of 100, 47-48% people used to get a product. Now it is around 64-65%. So that's a substantial improvement, and it has all happened I'll not call it because of AI, but because of these machine learning model which we have built on top of the data. Now the next phase, we are working to automate our service teams, at least the service inquiries which we get. We have a 30-40 member service team and the ORM team, who give manual responses to all the complaints on the inquiries we get. We are trying to automate that. But again, it would not be a rule-based chatbot like you mentioned. We are trying to make it a little more intelligent, so that it will not only understand the direct statements, but also understand the colloquial meaning of the words used in the conversation and the context.
Absolutely tangible for me. I'll tell you how. I work for one of my verticals called Event Capital, works for concerts, and I work very closely with Book My Show. So Book My Show tells me where you need to do the concert, where they have a huge data with them. They tell me, so I'm doing a new concert with Sonu, so I know exactly which city to go, how to do, very tangible, and I don't have to do that work. Secondly, we're the only one in the country to have currency called Sharp on the out-of-home ecosystem, where I can tell a brand where to go. It's a little counterproductive for me because, I'll tell exactly this road, this many number of people will go, you take it here, I can go hyper-local to the, 0 mile. So it's purely tangible for me in that aspect. And I have a company called Inventec, which works on content models, where it's very, very, very helpful for me. So yeah, I think very tangible for me.
What's tangible? I can't beat those numbers, Sachin, but what's tangible for me is AI and ML, which is machine learning. That's ground zero, foundation, which has given us massive media savings on targeting. And year on year, we see productivity. We're seeing some amount of, full omni-channel kind of consumer connected journey work, which will give us maybe another 5-10%. So talking about 5-10%, it's giving us some savings. What we are not seeing yet is Gen AI, because we're learning, right? And Gen AI for me is the big one, because we want to reduce the cost of content creation and instead reach out to more people or try more things, right? Because production was the reason why you never did. You wouldn't try 5 things. You'd say, 1 crore boss, can't afford it. And you'd want to reach more people, but you'd say, itna hi media money baki hai. So look at the efficiency you can build in the chain while not sacrificing creativity, not sacrificing consumers. It can be quite mind-boggling. Yeah.
Well, on that note, I found it quite an interesting discussion with a lot of contra points and a lot of insightful discussions. But clearly, AI has a long way to go, but at least we're on the journey. And hopefully, the next time we speak as a customer, I'll be able to tell you what tangible benefits I'm receiving as a customer thanks to AI. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, and hopefully you had a good time too. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sonali.
Thank you.